Hello and welcome back to the lecture series on power electronics. In the last video, we established that in our daily routine around our lives, significant amount of energy is being consumed in the form of electricity, and very few energy is still being consumed directly in the form of gas or petroleum, which is also expected to convert to electricity in future. Now that said, what is the role of power electronics specifically in this electrical energy system? That is what we are going to see now. So I'll take a few examples for you to understand the role of power electronics in these. Let me start with by taking the popular case of our mobile phones. So our mobile phones are electronic loads. So it has a lot of chips, a lot of integrated circuits operating at very low voltage DC. So the end use is very low voltage DC. Right? This is the end use. On the other hand, the supply that is available to us, which is the switch and the socket supply, which is there on our power board, is AC. Right? So your supply is 230 volt AC. It could be something else depending on where you are. Right. So this now from this supply, which is 230 volt AC, how do we actually get voltage to the end use? So from this supply, the first stage is usually AC to DC, which converts to reasonably voltage of DC. And then further, there is another stage of DC to DC. And then you get a voltage of around 5 volt after this processing. So this first processing is nothing but the charger of your mobile phone. It gives a 5 volt output, either a USB-C type or in some other form of port. Now once this 5 volt enters the mobile phone, then there is another DC to DC which then connects to the battery of your phone, and another DC to DC which then feeds the end load. Right? This all of this side, all of the right hand side is inside your mobile, right? So you can see that a very common device which all of us uses has so many stages of power conversion, right? First convert to AC to DC, then DC to DC, then one more, right? And all of this conversion is done by power electronic circuits, right? So all of this, right from supply to the just before the end use, it's all power electronics. Okay, let's take maybe some other example now. Let's take the example of, let's move to a little bit higher power load. So let's take the example of a locomotive, right? or a train. Now, what happens in a locomotive? In locomotive, you would usually have an overhead line, right? And you would have something called as a pantograph, which connects to the overhead line, right? Now the overhead line is medium voltage AC line, right? Why is it medium voltage? Why not low voltage like 230 volt? Because a substantial amount of power is required by the engine to run, and therefore if the voltage is a little bit higher, you can use thinner wires because the current is going to be less. Now once this AC voltage comes from here, then in between you have your loco or train, right? And then you have the wheels, and wheels are on track, and this becomes the negative. So if this is the phase, this is neutral, right? So that's how the whole circuit gets completed, right? Now let's do the same thing what we did with mobile phone, right? Let's try to understand the source, which we have already seen, and now let's try to understand the end use, and then whatever happens between the end use and the source. So here, what is the end use? The end use is the motor which is running the wheels, right? That is the end use. So usually in locomotives, it's the induction machine. So let's write it as induction motor, right? Which is the end use. Now, what does induction motor operate on? Induction motor operates on AC voltage, right? So it requires an AC voltage. What is that we have as a supply? As a supply also we have AC voltage, right? Now the question is, how do we connect this AC supply to this induction motor? One of the thing which might most of us might feel is, why don't we just directly connect the AC supply with the induction motor, right? And then in that case we may not need any power electronics in between. We don't need any AC to DC, DC to AC conversions, and that would be the probably the cheapest solution and the most effective solution to go with, right? But unfortunately that is not the case. The reason being quite a few. First, if you see, your AC supply is of medium voltage, right? Now, on the other hand, the induction motors are designed for lower voltages, right? Maybe around 400 volt or so. So you cannot directly connect these two things. Hypothetically speaking, even if we either design an induction motor to match with the voltage of the AC supply, still, if we connect both of them, then how do we control the speed? Right? Because we don't want locomotive motor to always operate at the same speed. We want to vary their speed. Now, because you want to vary their speed, you need to provide induction machine with variable frequency AC supply, right? On the other hand, the supply is fixed frequency. So how do we convert this fixed frequency into variable frequency, and that too at a lower voltage? So usually this is what happens. Usually this goes to a transformer which is on board on the locomotive, right? So this is a transformer. This transformer converts medium voltage to low voltage, right? And then you have an AC to DC converter, right, which converts fixed frequency AC into DC. And then you have a DC to AC converter, which converts DC voltage into variable frequency AC, and which is then goes into the induction motor, right? So you see, still the role of power electronics is quite substantial here. Without using power electronics, varying the speed of the locomotive would be highly inefficient process, right? Power electronics makes it very, very efficient. Okay, so now we have considered two examples of loads, right? I'll quickly take one more example, which is of a source, right? Let's take the example of solar photovoltaics. Now, solar photovoltaics are essentially PN junction diodes, which produces DC voltage, right? As the light falls on it, the photon gets absorbed, which leads to flow of DC current and production of DC voltage. So your source here is DC. And what is your load? Your load could be your home appliances, right? The load could be mobile charger, any of those could be load. So let's say my load here is uh, for example, the light, right? So I have an LED light, which is the load, let's say. LED light bulb, so I'll write the full thing, which actually requires a 230 volt AC at the input, right? And here I have a source, which is a DC, which is usually again low voltage. So what do I do? How do I connect these two things? So first I take this low voltage, I increase this voltage using a DC to DC converter, right? Then I use a DC to AC converter and convert it into AC and then feed my end use. Again, this is where power electronics comes into action. So from these three examples, you can see that power electronics is mainly concerned about converting one level of DC voltage to another level of AC voltage, one level of AC voltage into DC voltage, and converting DC voltage to AC voltage. And then certainly there are some converters which also do direct AC to AC conversion, which maybe we would be able to see in some of the advanced topics towards the end of this lecture series. So the remaining course would talk about different circuits to achieve these objectives in the most efficient way possible, right? There are ways in which you can do this, but you would lose a lot of power while you are doing these conversions, and you would not like to do that because that would unnecessarily cause wastage of energy. So therefore, as a part of this course in power electronics, we would see methods of converting these or executing these four processes, right, in the most efficient way. Thank you.